Should old acquaintance be forgotten, never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne?
Hey, I'm Dustin.
Hello, all my friends. It's me, Steve Van Elk, here again with Dustin McKibben on the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast. You guys, it is the end of the year. It's the end of an era. 2019 is dying. 2020 is coming in, and you're back listening to the finest phototainment in the world. One last episode before possibly our world ends. We're heading into a new decade, a beautiful decade, a better decade. It's the year of 2020. It's a beautiful 2020, just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. We're not going to have another
election year
number this beautiful until 2222. I'm calling it.
That's we'll be around for that. Can't wait to record an episode that day.
Yeah, well, I mean, like 2121, that's going to be ugly because that's an odd number, and nobody likes odd numbers. You know, even numbers. That's what we all about.
Except if you like blackjack.
So, Dustin. My man, I know this is probably late news for everybody out there, but I just wanted to get your take, that sweet-ass Dustin McKibben take. The USDA has officially removed Wakanda from the list of free trade partners.
Man, I wanted them sweet, sweet batons they have. No wonder that all of them got taken off eBay.
Just last night, they all just disappeared from eBay.
Yeah, eBay was like, oh, can't trade with us anymore.
All the vibranium's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't afford to pay the Trump tariffs. Dustin, we're back. It's the New Year's Eve episode. We're watching those balls drop. Your balls dropping this year? Got that ball drop?
Balls are dropping every year, Steven.
Mm-hmm. Dustin,
we got asked to photograph the ball drop this year, and
aren't you having a big party?
Thankfully, they asked my wife to photograph the ball drop. And
what? Who asked your wife that?
The host. So here in Fort Wayne, we have like an annual ball drop. Started a few years ago. I've never plan on going because I have small children, and it's very cold here. And they do like a whole lit thing where they have a ball that drops downtown Fort Wayne. It's a big thing. And one of the hosts of it, I guess, is friends with my wife on Facebook, and she's like, hey, I thought it'd be really fun because we didn't get any professional photos last year if you guys came and took pictures
for free.
We didn't it didn't even get to the point of discussing price because my wife was like, no, thank you.
Good on Corinne. If they had talked to you, you would have been like, yeah, I can do that.
I'd be like, yep. What time?
You need me there at midnight? Uh-huh. Is that when the ball drops, at midnight?
Yeah, we'll be there.
Let's ratchet it up. How about 10 o'clock at night?
Can we fake it? I tried to do that at a New Year's Eve wedding a few years ago. Or no, just last year, actually. Because they couldn't afford to have us there till midnight. They refused to pay like the extra,
and
even though I tried to explain that if you're
response, they were like, "Yeah, we'll pop some champagne. Don't worry about it.
Can we do like a faux ball drop type photo, just because you're gonna want that?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then like the moment comes around, and they're like, "No, that's okay."
No, that's okay. If it's not real, we don't want it.
But then the mom was like, wait, you guys are leaving? And I was like, yeah, we're only here till 10:30. And they're like, oh, you have to stay till midnight. Here's my credit card. And I was like,
here's my Square card reader. Crazy that I had this already attached to my phone. Wow.
And Corinne always gets mad when we stay late because she's like already in her mind, like on her way home. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoop, pulled back in.
Yeah. No, I mean, if Jen pulled that shit on me, I'd be super happy. I'd be like, yeah, let's make more money. Okay, so I guess I'm not like Fred at all then.
Exactly. You guys are shooting a New Year's Eve wedding this year.
No.
Wait, It didn't end up coming to fruition?
No, man.
That means you're coming to our New Year's
We
Eve
sent them
party?
prices and then never heard back from them again.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Next week? Dustin, this is our New Year's Eve episode. We'll see you tonight.
See you guys tonight. We'll see you tonight.
Why are you ruining the illusion for everyone?
Because most people don't realize this, Stephen, but you actually are podcasting with me from an alternate dimension where we celebrate New Year's differently than when you, in your dimension,
I like that
celebrate
you're
it.
referencing our answer to the Q&A from the Christmas episode.
I just like to stay on topic.
It's off topic. This is a new episode, Dustin. Do you not understand how these things work?
It's follow-up, Stephen.
Dustin, you know,
trying to find a universe that doesn't celebrate Christmas.
all the worst ones. Doesn't new week, new episode. Obviously, we're still drinking though, right? So, Dustin, what you got tonight?
I have a Fistmas ale that I need to go get.
Are you for real?
All right. This is a great holiday ale from Revolution Brewing in Chicago. Give you first impression. Santa himself drank one of these.
Oh, yeah.
And said it was awful. It smells pretty bad. Giving you that first aroma. Yeah, not very good. Oh,
Dustin's over there getting fisted right now.
that's what it feels like. Feels like my tongue just got fisted.
You know, Dustin, if you look back in the show notes for our first Christmas episode, I think you'll find something surprising there.
What?
Our episode that's maybe entitled from the first Christmas after we started this podcast called Merry Fistmas.
Oh, is this what you drank?
It's what you drank.
Oh, really?
It might have been what I drank. Pretty certain we both had one that year. I'm pretty certain you liked it too.
Don't like this.
Is it a bad
They must
batch?
have
Because
changed.
Fistmas is typically pretty good.
Maybe it's just not good after the cinnamon and sugar Great
Oh,
Lakes
yeah.
beer.
Yeah, that would be a real... You need to give that one a few sips, let it really sink in. Really get fisted by that beer.
Always try. Always try.
You know, getting fisted by that beer is probably better than getting fisted by your brother. To reference our Christmas episode from 2 years ago.
I love that you're pulling out all these references, and I have no idea.
Yeah, it was a great episode. You know, I still look back on it with love in my heart. Should have been pulling these references out on the Christmas episode, not the New Year's Eve episode. What am I doing?
Yeah, this is all about the new year, Steven. New beginnings, fresh starts.
Dude, that first...
New presidents.
That first year...
New wedding
we could only hope
seasons.
a new president. That first year, our New Year's Eve episode,
Pence.
we called The Fortress of Solitaire. Because I was recording from my sister's house, which is the house, like, she lives in the house I grew up in. She bought it from my mom. And there's literally a game closet there. Like a full, like, 2-door closet sort of thing with games from top to bottom. And you're so mad at me because, like, I never want to play games with you.
Yeah, I have a whole game closet here, too. And,
Your own Fortress of
never-
Solitaire.
and all the games stay in the packages. Packages.
It's so great to think back to those times. We were so young back then. A full two
So-
years ago.
Back when we still had hair on our chins.
Back when I still had hair on my forehead.
Hair on your forehead.
Yeah, the top part.
Forehead hair?
Yeah, up here, you know, where the hat's covering it up. There used to be hair there.
It's because you wear hats too much and it's wearing away your hairline.
Yeah, I know. That's what my older brother always told me. He doesn't wear hats, and his hairline's just like mine, so... Except like 2 years worse, because he's 2 years older than me. So I think maybe it's just genetics. I don't think it has anything to do with hats, but that's just me. I'm not a doctor or anything.
We all know that.
Dustin, this week I'm still drinking a Duvel. It's not because I opened.
What do you mean still? What do you mean still? This is a new episode, a new day.
It is a new
Steven.
episode. The Duvel I opened last week was a 750 milliliter. You think I could finish that in one sitting? I had to ration it out over several days.
Yes, I do.
It's like an 11%. It's like it's only 8.5%. I should be able to handle this one. Okay.
I've seen you.
Full
take
transparency
down
to the listeners
kegs.
here. We're recording our Christmas episode and our New Year's Eve
no
episode
transparency.
back to back. Our New Year's episode back to back, same night. And before we started recording, I did drink a McKellar Brunch Weasel, which is also an 8.5% beer. But that one was a 12 fluid ounces. That wasn't a 750 milliliter. So I should be holding up better because that was like 3 hours ago. But no, I'm
And for the listeners
trailing
out there,
off here.
I had a peanut butter and jelly before we started recording tonight.
You had a screwball?
Nope, just a straight up peanut butter and jelly.
So let me get this. You took screwball whiskey, and you took two slices of bread. You put some blackberry jam, I assume, on it, and then dumped some screwball whiskey on the bread, and then ate it, just like that.
With some Jiffy peanut butter as well. Yep.
Oh my gosh, we got to do the screwball challenge.
There's a screwball challenge.
Yeah. It's where you get two pieces
I feel
of
like you're
bread,
making this up.
and you put jam in between them, and then you dunk the bread into screwball, and then you eat it. And it's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but, the peanut butter screwball.
I think you made that up just now.
If you're listening out there and you want to do the screwball challenge with me and Dustin, join the Patreon. You join the Patreon at the producer level. Dustin and I will bring you in for an episode, and we'll do the screwball challenge with you. I will go out and buy that terrible whiskey, and I will do it with you.
Just want to mention that when I went to buy a bottle as a gift for somebody,
all
we
sold
don't need to
out.
name names. They were all sold
Damn
out
it,
of
Dustin!
it.
If you bought me a
The
gift
guy
of
at the
screwball,
store told me it was the most popular whiskey they've sold for the holidays.
so cards on the table. I've now tried screwball. I went to a giant whiskey
It's,
event / bourbon / scotch, or Scottish whiskey as you call it over in Scotland, because you don't call it scotch there. And I guess in Scotland they wouldn't call it Scottish whiskey, would they? They just call it whiskey. I've made so many mistakes. How deep into this Duvel am I?
so deep.
So deep.
You're being fisted by that
I'm
Duvel.
elbow deep in this Duvel, or maybe this Duvel's elbow deep in me. Who knows at this point? Happy New Year's, everyone. I tried the screwball. I was at the Big Red Liquor. They do like a Big Red Liquor is a liquor store in the Indianapolis area. They do a giant bourbon whiskey event every year. Jen and I went this year. They raffle off bottles. They don't raffle off bottles of Pappy Van Winkle because that'd be illegal. They raffle off the opportunity to spend $200 on a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle. So if you're... Because they only get a limited number of bottles, and they thought it was unfair to just sell them to first come, first serve. So instead they do this giant event. Tons of people come. There's all sorts of different whiskeys, scotches, and bourbons there. And even some wine and some gin and vodka as well. Not very much of that stuff. There's like one table with wine, one table with like vodka, gin. The rest is all whiskey, scotch, and bourbon. And they raffle off the Pappy Van Winkle and like a few other like rare whiskeys that they get throughout the year. So Jen and I went totes, hoping that we would win the ability to be able to spend $200 on, a bottle of Pappy. Didn't happen for us.
Such a weird thing to win.
I know, but like... Oh my gosh! If Jen and I won that, I would have paid like twice as much as what the retail value of the Pappy is.
So what you're saying is when I go to my real estate thing next week, that's what I should put all my tickets in?
I'm saying if you won the Pappy Van Winkle, I would be at your house. Like, you could text me and say, I won the Pappy Van Winkle, and 2 hours later, because that's how long it takes to drive from my house to your house, I would just be there, and you'd be like, what the hell, Steve? And I'd be like, I was thinking about opening that Pappy Van Winkle, eh, Dustin?
But I could sell it for lots of money, it sounds like.
Which is what Indianapolis photographer did when he won his at the Big Records thing. He told me that story, and it was heartbreaking. He said he felt bad spending so much money on it, so then he turned around and sold it for like $1,000. He only paid $200 for it. And I was like, oh, gotta feel real bad about making that profit, don't you?
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I hope he gave that money to an orphanage. Wow, so much of this probably needs to be cut.
So you've never tried it, though?
Never tried it. Never been fortunate enough to try it.
For all you know, it could taste like shit.
So there's a bourbon whiskey that's made from the same mash as the Pappy Van Winkle.
And what's that for the listeners out there?
I don't remember off the top of my head. It's
oh my gosh,
Dustin, I'm like all the way through a Duvel. I'm having a great night here with you, my best friend Dustin. But yeah.
But you can't remember the name of the bourbon.
Remember. So there's like a bourbon made from the same mash as the Pappy Van Winkle. It's made by the same company, and the way they figure out,
we'll call it Weller.
Yeah. So you just looked it up. Great.
No, I just know these things.
Okay. So yeah, I had the Weller, and the Weller's taste-wise supposed to be very similar to the Pappy because it's made from the same mash. They just take it out of the barrel earlier because when their like taste tester person goes around and tastes all the barrels, they can just tell it's not going to do as well as the other ones if it's left in longer. So what you end up with is supposedly a bourbon that is similar taste-wise to the tongue as the Pappy Van Winkle, but it has like the biggest burn in the world. So Jen bought me a bottle of that one year, and oh my gosh, I gotta tell you, the taste was utterly delicious, and the burn was the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. It was like eating like jalapeno peppers and ghost peppers, and
sounds awful.
It was real bad. It was real bad, the burn. The initial like flavor though was great, and like with the bourbon and whiskey, it's like you're supposed to like take a few sips, and then like after that, like you won't feel the burn anymore. It's just kind of like the way.
Unless you drink Screwball, in which you taste no burn ever.
Screwball's a terrible, terrible thing. So with like bourbons and whiskeys, you're supposed to take a few sips, and then like after you've had a few sips, like the burn just kind of goes away because your mouth gets used to it. With the Weller, the burn never went away. It was so bad, so very bad. It was maybe one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life. But the initial like second before the burn hit, so good. So very good. Just tasty as hell.
So what have you had that is equivalent to that?
Equivalent to that taste? Recently, like the thing I've loved the most is the Yellowstone. Yellowstone's real good. I don't think it's anything similar to that, but it's so good, man. And then when I was at the bourbon event, I friends of the show, Ross Eaglesham and James Kelly of the Photographer's Crack podcast, I sent them some messages to see, because there's a bunch of whiskey there from Scotland that I had no idea what's good, what's not good. And they gave me a bunch of stuff to try. And James recommended the Mort Lock. That was amazing. Amazing whiskey. I would drink lots of that.
Okay.
Yeah, if you had that, I would be at your house. Probably not in 2 hours, like if you had a bottle of Pappy, but, you know, I'd be there. And, like, a big part of the reason why Pappy's so coveted is just because it's so rare. And, like, a few years ago, there was, like, that whole thing where, like, somebody stole a bunch of Pappy Van Winkle from the distillery. They stole a bunch of barrels of it. And those barrels just, nobody knows what happened to them. They just went missing, and they're gone now. So it's even more rare now than it was because, you know, with whiskey, bourbon, all that kind of stuff, like you age it for, you know, several years. So like a Pappy Van Winkle is going to be aged for 10, 12, 15, or 20 years, depending on which Pappy you get. And, yeah, it's just going to be that. I mean, they stole it a few years ago, and like whatever they stole probably wasn't coming out for like another few years or whatever. So like you don't even see the repercussions of it right away on the marketplace. But a weird world, the bourbon world. Just anything aged, you aged Gouda. That's weird too,
Well, you want to talk about the cheese world?
Dude, I would get so into the cheese world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, when we go to Nashville, we'll track down some Pappy for you.
That's not going to happen. That's not a thing. Yellowstone. We'll get some Yellowstone. I'll introduce you to my good friend, Yellowstone.
There are certain bars that serve Pappy.
Yeah. I would love to go to one of those bars.
It's very expensive.
Oh man, there's a really good barbecue place that does bourbon and barbecue here in the Indianapolis area called North End Barbecue, and you can get the Elijah Craig 20 year there, and it just costs $50 for a shot of it. Pretty normal pricing, right, Dustin? $50 for one shot.
Seems pretty standard.
So, Dustin, let's get into our real topics, though, now that we've wasted a ton of time talking about alcohol. Dustin, it's New Year's Eve. What New Year's resolutions are you making this year?
I'm going to focus a lot more on my family. Yep.
Less on business, more on family, or more on business because you got to support that family?
Yeah. I'm working on diversifying our business so that my wife doesn't have to shoot as much. Still trying to figure that part out as we go into the new year. Whether that be more associate photographer opportunities, whether that be more real estate photography.
Bro associates, bro. What's up, bro?
Bro associates?
Yeah, bro associates. What's up, bro? I'm game.
You're supposed to be spending more time with your family, too. Yeah.
My family needs money. Bro, what's up?
That's what Jennifer's for.
I'll drive to Fort Wayne, bro.
Believe it when I see it.
I'll make the switch to Sony, bro.
Did you order some Sonys?
No, I did not. But if you're going to start hiring me to do bro associate weddings on days when I don't already have weddings booked for Jen and I, then maybe I could swing that, bro.
Felt really bad. We had a wedding cancel on us yesterday, and the person who I hired to shoot video with me that day, I thought that they had already ordered, they were already planning on ordering a Sony body, and they were going to this was their excuse to go ahead and pull the trigger. And I was going to feel really bad when I made the phone call to let them know that the wedding was no longer happening.
Then they died and you didn't have to worry about it. Scrooge.
And they thankfully they hadn't bought the Sony yet, but I was going to be really, really concerned if they were like, I just pulled the trigger on spending.
Dustin, I almost bought a Canon EOS R the other day.
Well, when you told me the price, I didn't blame you.
Yeah, it dropped down to $13.99, but I didn't. Or wait, $13.50, right? Yeah, it's super cheap. It's $14.99, but then on Green Toe, I got an offer for $13.50. I put in an offer for $7.50, and I was almost gonna buy the EOS R, and then Jen said this one little thing to me, which completely just shut all that down. Which was, can it record video to dual card slots?
And can it?
It cannot. It only has one card slot, so. I was thinking to record video to 2 card slots when it only has 1 card slot. Oh.
That is why we need to make that Kickstarter item, which is just a plastic placebo that goes on the bottom of the EOS R.
You say that, but I've had multiple times running a videography business where cards, SD cards, CF cards have failed on me for video. They've corrupted or other stuff. So I would love to get invested in a system for video that records to 2 cards, and Panasonic does it with the GH5 and the S1. But I also saw another company does it. Dustin, do you know what that company is? Sony. The A7 III, in a firmware update, they added the ability to record to 2 cards.
There you go.
Man, and now back to just lusting after that Sony gear. I thought I was done with that lust, but I'm right back. I'm right back, buddy. Oh man, I really wish Canon would just get their shit together and put out a Canon mirrorless that records to 2 cards, because I would love to be able to stick with Canon. I've heard like the shooting on the EOS R and the EOS RP and using like the EF to RF adapter is actually super good. But they just don't have what I need. So, because I would kill to be able to record video to dual card slots. And I asked you about it, Dustin. Have you ever shot to dual card slots with your A7 IIIs?
I just got them, so no, I have not shot video on them yet. But to my knowledge, we couldn't record to 2 card slots when we were shooting on my A7R III.
See, I didn't see anything about the A7R III. I only saw about the A7 III having simultaneous recording or dual recording. I forget how they.
I would assume I could not on the R3 because I've gone to record before, and it will tell me that the card is in the wrong card slot.
See, and that's the thing.
Which makes me think there's a dedicated slot for video.
So the A7 III, it's like one card slot does like UHS 2, and the other one does UHS 1 for the SD cards. And I might be getting the acronyms wrong there. But like one card slot is faster than the other, which is why I sent you a text seeing if you'd ever tried to record video to both card slots, since it's an available option. Because if you can't actually do it because you don't have enough, like, the ability to write fast enough, then it wouldn't be worth it. But if you could, like, write fast enough to have, like, 1080 or 4K on, like, the fast card slot, and then on the slow card slot it's just, like, 720 all the time or something like that, like, that would be worth it. But then again, maybe that's super crazy and would never work out to write, like, 2 separate video feeds at the same time to 2 separate card slots. I don't know.
I don't know either, man.
But yeah.
We'll figure it out. By recording to one card.
One thing I have loved that I found out this year, because I made the mistake while shooting a wedding where I shot a bunch and I only had 1 card in and I didn't realize it. And so then, like, halfway through the wedding, I threw another card into my Canon. And the Canon DSLRs all have this thing built in where you can just say, copy all the photos from the card that's already in to the other card. So I was able to back up all my photos from one card to the other while there. Like halfway through the wedding. It was one of those things where it's like I felt like so nervous, like when I realized I only had 1 card in, and then I did that, and like a minute later all the photos had been copied from the CF card to the SD card, and I was like, I don't feel nervous anymore. And like, I don't know. I mean, if the card had corrupted sometime before then, I would have been screwed, but it didn't, so we're all good. But I wonder if maybe that's how Sony does it. Maybe they just record to the 1 card slot, and then as soon as you like end the video for the 1 card slot, it just copies that over to the other card slot. I don't know, but that's why I was asking you about it, Dustin. I need somebody with their feet on the ground. Your answer was, I have no idea. Thank you.
My answer was more like, my camera bag's in my car. It's 18 degrees outside. I don't want to go out and look.
Why is your car not in the garage? You have like a 3-car garage. It's not 18 degrees in your garage.
No, but the idea of it being 18 degrees, because I'm so used to my car being outside before we built this house with a 15-car garage. So, yeah.
All right. Well, Dustin, back to New Year's resolutions. You want to spend less time shooting weddings, more time shooting other work so that Corinne doesn't have to work as much. Anything else?
Not so much time shooting less weddings. I personally just don't want to shoot as many weddings.
Okay.
I still want to bring in as much wedding work.
How is that possible if you're shooting less weddings? To bring in as much wedding work?
Associate brand.
Okay. Bro associate brand.
Just like you and Jen. Like, you've got like the Jen Van Elk, and then you've got the Redwood Lane, then you've got the Jen Van Elk
Associate
Plus Squad. Jen Van Elk Suicide Squad.
Cool.
So that's my goal. How about you, Steve? What are you trying to do in the new year's?
I want to slide back into video. I want to get more into the video world. I love shooting video. I love editing video. Like, I love writing for video. All that stuff is super fulfilling to me creatively, and I just feel like I don't get to do enough of it. Like, this year we had several weddings, And unfortunately, every wedding we booked for video, I was already booked for photo, so I didn't get to shoot any video at any weddings this year. So that was kind of a bummer for me because I actually really enjoy doing that. The only thing I really shot was like video wise for like the wedding stuff was I did like an engagement shoot while Jen was doing photos. I did video. It was the one out in LA, so that was fun, but like I edited something together and I don't even know if it's ever going to see the light of day just because like they didn't pay anything for it, and I shot most of it on like an iPhone because I was bored. like I laugh at the idea of shooting on an iPhone, but like I shoot a ton of stuff on iPhones. Like I actually really love it, and you can get like really good footage on an iPhone video wise for what I'm looking for.
Most people don't realize this, but Steven Van Elk shoots a tremendous amount of video on his iPhone that never sees the light
yes,
of day.
I do. No, so like when I shoot weddings, so I have like an A camera, a B camera, a C camera during the ceremony for like I want like, a wide shot, I want me on a camera, and I want my second shooter on a camera. So like, I got 3 cameras rolling, DSLRs like that throughout the wedding, or mirrorless now. And then I will typically set up 1 or 2 iPhones, like old iPhones that I have, to shoot like just basically like weird angles and weird shots. And a lot of times I end up liking that better than like the DSLR stuff. Not that I don't spend like most of the wedding on it because it's, from like a weird angle or whatever, but I'll like cut to it a few times, and like I love using like iPhones, kind of like you'd use a GoPro, like I just need some weird sort of angle where I can use this for something later, and like I love having that ability.
So that's what I use my A6500 for.
Yes.
On the
Yeah, but I mean, want to use an A6500 when you could just use an iPhone? You know what I'm saying?
Because, see, as Steve knows, I'm the king of overkill when it comes to ceremonies. I mean, the last wedding Steven and I shot together, I had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cameras rolling for the ceremony.
Wait.
Which one we never hit record on, but...
One we never hit record on? One your intern at the time never hit record on?
I think Luke didn't hit record on it.
What? Fire his
It was
ass.
the GoPro. We put the GoPro up on that ledge on the steps to get the cross angle of the groom's face.
Yeah. Which would have been a terrible shot anyway, so.
Yeah, it would have been, but I just was like, overkill, want every angle. But I typically, that wedding aside, I typically do an A camera, B camera, C camera, like Steve said. Then I also do a D camera, which is a moving shot, typically around with a gimbal of different elements, like a pan from above the guests or a push.
Dude, if it's bright outside,
shots.
like if you're shooting outside, might as well just use that iPhone 11 Pro for that D camera. It's like you don't even need a gimbal or anything. Like it's steady enough with its stabilization built in and everything. You just like throw it in your hand and like, rock out.
I'm getting a little tempted. So I bought the iPhone 11 Pro for the ability to use the wide angle lens for real estate videos, and I've yet to really utilize it. And then yesterday I saw a post about a real estate photographer who really quickly, using some iPhone app, edited together a real estate walkthrough video. And I was watching this without reading like what he wrote. I was like, oh, it's a pretty good, like normal real estate video. And then like having seen that he didn't use a gimbal, it was all handheld, all edited on his iPhone, shot with his iPhone, delivered, same day from his phone.
Oh, Dustin.
I was a little blown away.
One of the videos we did this year, I wasn't at because I was shooting photo, but we gave the iPhone 11 Pro to our videographer, and we're like, just shoot some stuff with it, see what you can get. And he had like at one point in the reception, he gave the iPhone 11 Pro to the best man, who's the groom's brother, which is like just walk around with it and see what happens. And I did not end up using any of the footage because the best man shot a bunch of really boring stuff, but he's walking around with it handheld the whole time, and it's like stable as hell. And it's like it's dark in there, and it looks really good, like no like grain or anything. And I was like, And he was on the selfie camera side, like the worst camera side.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, what the F is happening? Like, it was ridiculously good looking the whole time. And I was just like, this isn't going to put videographers out of business, because I can clearly see when you give it to somebody who doesn't know what the hell they're doing or what to look for, it still turns out a bunch of really shitty footage. But like on the technical aspects of stuff, like it was stable. There wasn't like a ton of grain. Like it looked good. So, man, it made me think, like, do we even need like expensive cameras anymore? Like maybe we just give like a iPhone 11 Pro or two to like the guests in the front row, and then we rock one out from the back and let it go.
Call it a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any other New Year's resolutions for you, bud?
No, just trying to find some tenants for my rental property.
Ebenezer. The only other resolution I have is just I want to feel more present this year. I feel like a lot of times I get bogged down with like, so I do like all the social media stuff for Jen and I's businesses, and I do the social media stuff for Jen and I's podcast and for Your and I's podcast, and I enjoy it.
You want to see more present in our social media?
I enjoy it, but I also feel like I can get distracted, like when we're out, like doing stuff. If like there's a flurry of like posts in the Wedding Hangover Facebook group, or if there's like a bunch of DMs somebody starts sending to the Wedding Photo Hangover account, and so I just want to get better at not ignoring that kind of stuff, but being able to compartmentalize and shut off the part of me that's like I need to work on social media
Scheduling
stuff.
time for certain.
Yeah, and like put like scheduling out blocks of like I'm only going to do social media like from 8 to 9 this morning, and then maybe again from like 2 to 3 or something. And the rest of the day I'm going to spend working on other stuff, or I'm going to spend with my family, Got to coordinate off stuff. That's kind of my goal for this next year.
That's a good goal.
So, Dustin, what are you looking forward to in the new year?
I am looking forward to not working for the mayor.
Nice.
No, I really enjoyed that, and I'm actually a little disappointed that more work hasn't come from that. That's not to say that work won't come from that experience, but from the connections I made. But yeah, just it's a new year with new opportunities, and I'm kind of curious to see what this year brings. I feel like I've really grown over the last year in different ways.
I mean, your video work has gotten
business.
much better for the last year. I think shooting for the mayor probably helped with that, because you're shooting a lot more. But like composition for video stuff for you is just you're really good at it now. I've been very impressed by your work.
I don't know what video work you're talking about.
You've sent me stuff you've shot for the mayor and edited. I've watched it. You're getting very good. I'm very proud of you.
That's maybe because we have time to compose.
Maybe. But we had time to compose in Sierra Leone, and you did a really shitty job every time.
Maybe your taste on my composition is just grown.
You've gotten better. I can tell you it's that one.
I feel like that video still stands, though. Sierra Leone video.
Did a lot of post-production on that. A lot of post-production on the plane ride back. Oh gosh,
we should toss that up in the Patreon.
There's a goal for it in the Patreon. If we get enough subscribers, we'll do a whole episode just on our time in Sierra Leone. People keep like DMing us about that. I thought like we kind of stopped talking about it, so I kind of just figured like it would not come up ever again. But I guess people listen to the back episodes.
Here I am.
Oh, here you are. You're the one.
Make a push.
So, I mean, for me, New Year, Dustin, I'm looking forward to new election. Political season coming up. I want to see some changes.
I'm already the president of my association, Steve. Steve, I'm already the president.
And
there's no more
in your
election.
Neighborhood politics, they've invested in a good person, a good human being, the kind of guy who would evict someone right before Christmas.
Exactly. It's a new year, Steve. New tenants, new year.
Real money-making
Stop
man.
referencing the old episodes. Focus on the new.
Dustin, are there any mistakes you're going to try to avoid in the new year?
wow, mistakes I'm going to try to avoid. Probably talking about clients on this podcast. That is probably something I will avoid in the new year.
Oh my gosh. That's so meta, and nobody will know what the hell you're talking about because we had to cut it from the episode, but wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes my heart happy. Dustin, I think it's time to move on to Q&A for our New Year's Eve episode.
Q&A me, Steven.
Let's do some Q&A.
But Steve...
Spaces from a random Facebook group. That's a weird name. Did my autocorrect screw his name up? Feel like that's an autocorrect screw up. That's weird.
Maybe it's Kevin Spacey.
Nope. Nope. That would get cut from the podcast if it's him. Shooting my first New Year's Eve wedding. I usually go to bed around 9:30 a.m. How am I going to stay up till midnight?
Coffee, energy drinks.
Coffee, energy drinks, the fear of screwing up so bad because you fell asleep and didn't make it to midnight that you won't get paid and you'll in fact get sued and your business will fold underneath you.
Well, he never says in the question that he has to stay till midnight.
I assume it. Why would he want to stay up till midnight if he didn't have to stay shooting till midnight, Dustin? How am I going to stay up till midnight? My contract ends at 10:30 and I have an hour and a half drive home. Hi, I'm Spaces.
Yeah. It's Spaceys.
That's not what the name says.
It's French. It's French.
I'm Sissy Spacek. How am I going to stay up?
Sissy Spacek. Yeah, no, I mean, we typically do a New Year's Eve wedding every year. This is the first year in a while we haven't had one. And, yeah, typically the wedding starts later, so try to sleep in that morning. Grab a little power nap before you head off to the wedding. And if you have kids, you can't do that, so sorry. But if you have kids, you have no problem staying up till midnight.
Yeah, I would say if you can get some coffee at the venue you're at. Something Jen and I learned this year is there are quite a few venues in the Indianapolis area that don't serve normal coffee. They only serve decaf coffee. The reason being that when people mix alcohol with coffee, they get drunk but don't feel drunk because they have the caffeine, so they don't feel like the sleepiness, So then they get real wild and out of hand. It's like drinking Red Bull with vodka, except not quite as hard as Red Bull with vodka, because people who do that go real hard. So yeah, a lot of venues apparently switch out to or only serve decaf. They don't actually advertise this or tell anybody this. They just have coffee.
Isn't that kind of dangerous though for the people who haven't been drinking and they need that little caffeine boost to get home?
Yeah, no. What the hell, dude? No. Well, if I don't get my coffee at the wedding, I don't know how I'll make it home tonight. No, no. Those people, if they feel tired, should be staying in a hotel. They shouldn't be driving. You shouldn't drive tired, Dustin.
That's why you drink coffee.
But you'd still feel tired.
I once shot a wedding in Indiana. Steve. Jumped in my car, drove through the night to New York to shoot a wedding the next morning.
You're an idiot. You're 100% an idiot.
I wouldn't advise that to anyone. But that was one of the most dangerous things I've ever done.
Yes, and that was foolish. Foolish.
I've never drank more 5-hour energies in not 5-hour spans than I did that night.
Do you still drink 5-hour energies ever? That was something Jen and I did when we first started shooting wedding photography. Was we'd do a 5-hour energy halfway through the night. And we just stopped at some point in time. Those things have to be so bad for you. Hey, Spaces, don't drink a 5-hour energy.
Never drank them at weddings, but I was always concerned. We never had money when we first got started to be able to afford a hotel. We would always charge the couple for a hotel and then drive home.
Nice. I love that.
Pocket that extra $200 or whatever.
That's the way to do it.
So I'm $200 or $2 for a 5-hour energy drink. And then Corinne can sleep. Well, I just hope to God I get us home.
And then you'll both feel like shit all day the next day. It's great.
She won't. She
didn't really sleep. She
car.
slept in the car. Car sleep isn't real sleep. Everybody knows this. You wake up feeling worse than you did if you would have just stayed awake.
It's true. I can't sleep in the car. That's why I just might as well drive.
Yeah. So spaces, I guess, do 5-hour energy, the Dustin McKibben style. Mix your vodka
All of
with
it.
your Red Bulls while you're shooting this wedding. It's not a big deal, you know?
It's true.
That's definitely a way to die. But, you know, Allie from a random Facebook group asks, does anyone dress differently for New Year's Eve weddings? I don't know if I should wear something a little bit more party-like or if I should go with my typical formal business gear. I really want to wear a dress I bought for New Year's Eve. I bought it before I booked this New Year's Eve wedding, though. I'm just nervous this dress won't be appropriate for the wedding because it's modern and a bit cleavagey. And the wedding is a Victorian era themed wedding. But I look super cute. Help. Just spelled help with an A. Help.
So I like to assume this is from the Facebook group Hipster Millennial Photographers of Facebook.
No, Zoomers. Hipster Zoomer Photographers of Facebook.
Hipster
Zoom
Zoomer.
Zoom. Mazda.
There's
Zoom,
somehow
zoom,
big
zoom, zoom.
Victorian era themed weddings because that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I know. But like if you're going to a Victorian era themed wedding, like that's gotta be like there's the neckline is like your chin, right?
Yeah. Like you should just dress as somebody who survived the plague.
just show up dressed like a plague doctor. Show up with your crow's mask and wearing all black,
Yeah.
and you're a plague doctor. It's all
Yeah.
good. Don't worry about it.
And then like swap out your camera bag for like an old doctor's
I
bag.
heard photographers typically wear black at these weddings, so at your Victorian era themed wedding, I came as a plague doctor. Walk around with a wagon the whole time and just ring a bell and be like, "Bring out your dead."
And then slowly push guests over onto your wagon.
I have the thieves' oil from essential oils, so I will be fine. While all the rest of you get sick, I'm a plague doctor.
And then just hire associates to take the pictures. Because for you, it's all about living up that theme.
Yeah, it's all about that theme. And, you know, save that cleavagey dress for some other time. You know, it's a bit more modern anyway.
Like a good New Year's Day party.
You know, flip it though, Dustin. You show up to the Victorian era themed wedding in your cleavagey dress.
As I do.
Put on like a big copper wristwatch and just tell everyone you're a time traveler. Now you've turned this Victorian era themed wedding into a steampunk wedding. Think about that.
You gotta bring a hoverboard.
You you hoverboard your ass into that wedding and you're like, I'm from the future.
Looking for the oh shit, I'm losing all of my Back to the Future references.
No, you're on Back to the Future now?
Flux capacitor. What's the thing they're looking for?
Yeah, the flux capacitor is the thing that gets them back and forth from the future to the past. I don't think they're ever looking for it. They're looking for power to power it.
Power for it. It's been a while since I've seen those movies.
In the second movie, Doc's all like, oh yeah, you just throw a few crumpled up soda cans in and you can go anywhere you want. I fixed the flux capacitor. You no longer need lightning bolts or uranium.
There you go.
Yeah, I think you're all good. Just show up in a DeLorean with your cleavagey dress and a big copper watch and say you're from the future.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe like those bifocals.
Or show up like a normal, professional dressed wedding photographer and stop shaming our community.
Or
You zoomer.
Yeah, show up like a normal wedding photographer in a big hoop dress, the neckline that goes all the way up to your chin, and talk like this the entire time.
How was that against you? I'm sorry, I'm trying to pick
We're
it.
in Victorian England. You have to talk like this.
Yeah.
Sheena from a random Facebook group says, the bride and groom sprayed my camera with champagne. Do I bill them for it? It has liquid damage now, and it smells terrible. I have a New Year's Eve wedding in a few weeks, and the bride and groom at this wedding said they're doing a crazy champagne pop too, and now I'm scared. I can't get my backup camera near that. What do I do?
I have a champagne phobia. Man, I don't know. I think you just have to start coming prepared with like an umbrella or like a piece of plexi.
Or get a weatherproof camera. I'm guessing Sheena shoots on a Sony. If she had a Canon, she'd be all good. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, you get that Sony soaking wet with some Champagne.
She probably wanted that Sony, so she had that multiple bursts, being able to shoot fast enough to capture that champagne.
Yeah.
The focusing, possibilities that come with that.
I saw somebody in a Facebook group complaining that their focus, their autofocus was too good because during a bubble exit recently with the bride and groom, the autofocus caught focus on one of the bubbles as opposed to the bride and groom's face, and they were complaining about it. And everybody in the group was like, back button focus. You back button focus? No? You're a shutter boy?
Well, Sony has this cool thing,
Shutter boy,
where you can lens button focus.
Okay, you've been on the Sony for like a week.
Yeah, can I pretend
have you
that
shot
I've been on
have
it
you
for
shot a
lifetime?
wedding on the Sony yet with your lens button focus? Okay,
this weekend, first time.
share your garbage for some other day. Then your garbage. We'll put that in the follow up for the next time we record. Lens button
I'm kind of
focus.
slightly terrified.
You should be.
I have like this anxiety of shooting. We shot a few family sessions this week, full Sony, and that was enough anxiety for me to almost switch back to Nikon.
Yeah, you went hard in the paint in those though. Really, really pushing it.
Hmm?
Really trying to get your money's worth. See what it's all about.
It's just very different. It's very different than what I'm used to. And when it comes to a wedding where every shot counts, it's just got to break my cherry.
Yeah, sounds about right. And disgusting and chauvinistic. Sheena, bill that bride and groom who destroyed your camera. They deserve to be billed. You probably didn't have insurance, I guess. So yeah, whatever. Do what you got to do, and don't get your backup camera near that crazy champagne pop unless it's a Canon or a Nikon or some other weatherproof brand.
Yeah, or just shoot far enough away where you don't have to worry about it getting on you. Stop using a 14 millimeter
you're probably
lens.
a zoomer too. Get your zoomer lens out.
Get your zoomer.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast. If you love the show, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. If you want to connect, we're at Wedding Photo Hangover on Instagram. Dustin, my man, is on Instagram at Dustin_McKibben, and Steven is at Steven Van Oak. If you want to join the awesome community of listeners that contribute to the show every week, join the Wedding Hangover Facebook group. But if you want to keep this podcast alive, head over to StevenDustinSaveTheWorld.com and you can sign up to support the podcast for as little as $1 a month. On top of the benefit of knowing you're keeping a good show going, because we got a good thing going here, folks. You also get the benefit of extra content, like outtakes from guest episodes, bonus content, like at the $5 tier, you get the Steve and Dustin Save the World podcast, where we answer more Facebook questions every week. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time your head is pounding, your limbs feel like dead weight, and your entire being aches for the sweet embrace of death. That's right, next Sunday after you shoot anotherwedding.com.
Another wedding.
Dustin, have you watched anything new since last week? Have you read any good books?
No, Steven, no.
Dustin, let me tell you, Jen and
Still
I
reading and watching the same thing.
Jen and I started watching the show Fleabag on Amazon Prime.
I always forget about Amazon
Oh my
Prime
gosh,
shows.
dude. We started watching Fleabag, and it was like one night, and we just went through like all of first season, and the next night we're like, we'll
What's that
start
about?
second season. It's about being a woman in the UK. It's
See, I don't like UK
It's
shows.
so funny, dude. It's one of the funniest shows I've ever watched. And also, it did make me cry a few times. And it made Jen cry a few times, too, because women have it harder than men. I don't know if that's true.
It's true.
But I would say it's very funny. It's a very different take than what I've seen.
Except when it comes to wedding photography. I feel like they have it so easy.
Oh, gosh. You show it a sexist pic.
I just
hate
said
you
they
so
have it easy.
Yeah.
Make us men have to work twice as
Oh,
hard.
yeah. Yeah, you know it. Well, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Oh, my gosh.
Oh my
Working
God.
hard over here with Dusty McKibbs.
Always trying.
Have
Steven.
a great night, my good friend Dustin.
Have a great year, Stephen. Well, Happy New Year's.
Getting fisted by that beer is probably better than getting fisted by your brother. Wedding Photo Hangover was edited this week by Steve Van Elk of Bespoke Tone. Go to Bespoke Tone for all of your photo, video, and audio editing needs.